Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 70 of Cameron Sports Podcast. It's host here, Cameron Lindsay. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about Conference Championship Week for the 2024 college football season. The regular season has officially ended last week. We have conference championship games. We got the Mountain West. We got the American, the Big 12. We got the Big 10, the ACC, and the SEC Championship game. All these championship games, besides the American, have a big impact on the 12-team college football playoff. And after this week, we will know who's officially all in. We already have a clue who's in, but we'll officially know the seedings from 1 seed to 2nd seed, to 3rd seed, to 4th seed. We'll know all of that after this week. But yeah, let's get right into it. Starting with the Mountain West Championship game, which will be this Friday, December 6th, between UNLV, who's 10-2, versus Boise State, 11-1. Boise State, their only loss was to Oregon, the second game of the season. Undefeated in Mountain West play. They actually defeated UNLV during the regular season, 29-24 during Week 7. And in that game, Heisman Trophy candidate Ashton Jeanty went for 33 carries for 128 yards and 1 touchdown. So he had a pretty good game. UNLV quarterback Haji Malik Williams went 12 of 21 for 179 yards, 2 touchdowns, only 1 pick. He also had a really great game on the ground. He had 19 carries for 105 yards and a touchdown. So he not only threw the ball pretty well, but he ran it excellently. So it was pretty good balance. Over 100 yards passing, 100 yards rushing. And UNLV wide receiver Ricky White III had 5 catches for 57 yards. He's their leading receiver. Has over 1,000 receiving yards this season. But this was a pretty solid game. I went back and watched the highlights on this game. I was actually watching this game live when it happened during the regular season, but I went back and watched it. It was pretty competitive. Both defenses on both teams for Boise State and UNLV both stepped up. Especially Boise State had to put a good decent amount of sacks. UNLV got a couple good key stops. But in all, Boise State, was a better team. Had the better player with Ashton Jeanty, the quarterback, Boise State quarterback. He had a good game. But like I said, UNLV quarterback Haji Malik Williams had a great game with his arm and his legs, besides the 1 interception he had. But this is a real close game. For the most part, UNLV did lead the game up to the 4th quarter. Like I said, Boise State ended up taking the lead. They went for 2, didn't get it. Ended up winning that game 29-24. Now, this game does have a big impact on the college football playoff because due to Memphis upsetting Tulane last week, the winner of this game will get a bid into the college football playoff. Boise State, even if Tulane didn't lose and Boise State wins, they will get in because they'll be the higher ranked group of 5 team. But with Tulane losing, UNLV now has a chance to get into the college football playoff if they can knock off Boise State. Because right now, UNLV is ranked 20th in the updated college football playoff rankings. Boise State is 10th. If UNLV can beat Boise State, they'll be in as the highest ranked group of 5 conference champion. They just won't be the 4th seed. They'll probably have to play in the first round. They won't get a bye, but they'll be in the playoff. If Boise State wins this game, they most likely will get a bye. They're over the Big 12 champion between Arizona State and Iowa State because Boise State is ranked higher than Arizona State and Iowa State in the college football playoff rankings. So yes, this Friday, December 6th, this will be a very good game. Like I said, it was great during the regular season, Week 7. Boise State won 29-24. I'm going Boise State again to win this game. I got Boise State winning over UNLV. I'm going to say about the same score. I'm going to go 27-23 Boise State over UNLV. I think Ashton Jeanty is going to be the key factor in this game. I think Boise State's defense is going to rise to the occasion like they did last time. They had to get stopped. They had to get some sacks, and they did that. at UNLV. That was on the road in Allegiant Stadium where the Raiders play, because that's where UNLV plays their games. But this game will be at Boise State, so they'll have the home field advantage. So I think Boise State will come out on top 27-23, 27-24 over UNLV to advance to the college football playoff and get a first-round bye. Now, for the American Championship game, like I said, Tulane did lose to Memphis, so most likely they're out of it for a chance to the college football playoff. But I think it's still going to be a great game. Tulane 9-3 taking on Army, who's 10-1. All right, I did not see this coming from Army. This is their first year in the American. I never really been a fan of that type of offense that whatever it's called, Army, Navy runs, or Air Force, the offense Georgia Tech used to run. I never really been a fan of it, but they made it work. And the Army's only loss is to Notre Dame, who's going to be playing in the college football playoff. So that's not a bad loss at all. But this would be a really good game. Part of me does want to cheer for Army just to see them win. Like, I feel like they kind of deserve it, especially the season they had. But from what I saw Tulane do to Navy during the regular season, because Navy and Army run about the same type of offense, I think I might have to go with Tulane. I especially love their quarterback, Darren Masaya. He had, during the regular season, he had 2,514 passing yards with 20 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. I think he's only a freshman. So, yeah, Tulane quarterback Darren Masaya, again, had over 2,500 passing yards, 20 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions. Army quarterback Brayson Daly only had 860 passing yards, 8 touchdowns, 1 pick. Like I said, the type of offense Army runs, they don't really throw a whole lot. So he doesn't have really a lot of passing yards, a whole lot of touchdowns, or a whole lot of picks. But on the ground, he had well over 1,000 yards with 1,348 rushing yards and 25 touchdowns. Army quarterback Brayson Daly. So he's very dangerous with his legs. I think he's going to be a key factor if Army wants to win this game against Tulane and win the American Championship with their first year in the American League. He's going to have to run the ball with his legs. But I think Tulane is a very coached-well team. Tulane has been well coached for the past couple of years. I think really 2 years ago, I saw Tulane beat USC in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl, New Year's Six Bowl. So that's how I know Tulane, how good Tulane is as a team the past couple of years. They're no pushover. So I think it's gonna be a really good game. I'm gonna go Tulane. I'm gonna go Tulane 34-31. I'm gonna go 34-31 Tulane over Army. I'm gonna say overtime. I think Tulane wins against Army in overtime. Next up, we got, and that, like I said, again, that's Friday at 8 o'clock also, just like the Mountain West Championship game. Friday, 8 o'clock. December 6th, the American Championship game is also Friday, 8 o'clock, December 6th. Now let's get to the Big 12 Championship game between Iowa State, 10-2, against Arizona State, 10-2. Quarterback Rocco Benchti for Iowa State had 3,021 passing yards, 20 touchdowns, only 8 picks. Also Iowa State receiver Jaden Higgins had 80 catches for 1,068 yards, 9 touchdowns. Arizona State quarterback Sam Levitt had 2,444 passing yards for 21 touchdowns, only 5 picks. And Arizona State running back Cam Skatubo, if I'm pronouncing his last name wrong, had 1,398 rushing yards for 17 touchdowns. So, and I seen Arizona State play a little bit. Like I said, I did not see this coming their first year in the Big 12. I didn't think they'll be that good because the year prior, Arizona State was terrible. They was terrible. But, Iowa State is a pretty well-coached team. So, even though this is their first time in program history with 10 wins, so it doesn't surprise me too much that they're in the Big 12 championship game. But I'm going to go Arizona State slightly. Like I said, the winner of this game will automatically get into the college football playoff. I'm going to go Arizona State. Reason why, I think the key factor will be the Arizona State running back Cam Scatubo. Sorry, I'm pronouncing his last name wrong. I think Cam will be the key factor. Like I said, he has over 1,300 rushing yards and 17 touchdowns. I think he's going to be the key factor, running the ball with him. Like I said, I like their offense a little bit more than I do Iowa State. Like I said, now as far as how Arizona State will do in the college football playoff, I ain't gonna. I'm not so sure, and I will get into that when I talk about the projected bracket for Week 15. But I'm going Arizona State over Iowa State. That will be Saturday, 12 o'clock in Dallas in Jerry World. Iowa State versus Arizona State in the Big 12 championship game. I got Arizona State winning over Iowa State. I'm gonna say I got 31-23. I say 31-23. Arizona State over Iowa State, and I think Arizona State's Cam Scatterboo will be the key factor in that game for Arizona State. Next up, we got the Big Ten championship game. This like Saturday, December 7th, 8 o'clock. Penn State 11-1, taking on the number 1 team in the nation, or the Oregon Ducks, who finished the regular season perfect, 12-0. Like I said, Penn State is in due to the fact that Ohio State got upset at home against Michigan. That's a long story. I thought Indiana would get in, but I guess due to the fact that Penn State probably has a better Big Ten. I'm getting to a lot into that, but they clinched the spot in the Big Ten championship game with their win over Maryland, 44-7. Oregon already had clinched the Big Ten championship berth prior to way before last week. Some key players in this game will be Oregon quarterback Dylan Gabriel. He had over 3,275 passing yards with 24 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions. Oregon running back Jordan James had 1,166 rushing yards with 13 touchdowns during the regular season. And Oregon wide receiver Tez Johnson had 67 catches for 685 yards and 9 touchdowns. He probably would have his stats would probably be more but he did miss a couple games due to injury. But he's still their leading receiver. Oregon has a very explosive offense, led by Tez Johnson, Jordan James, Dylan Gabriel. So they got a lot of weapons besides Tez Johnson. Their defense is very good, led by Ugangale, the sophomore pass rusher. Muhammad at defensive back. Penn State, Penn State do got some good players also. Quarterback Drew Aller had over 2,668 passing yards with 18 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. They have a nice running game with their 2 running backs. But I just don't really and I love James Franklin. He's a good coach, but I just don't think it's like he kind of chokes in the big moments, like playing Ohio State or playing Michigan. And I don't think Penn State will have a complete enough to go the distance with Oregon. I think Oregon has too much firepower with Dylan Gabriel, Jordan James, Tez Johnson. I just think Oregon will be too much for Penn State. Now, I think Penn State will most likely still get in, even with losing this game, because it'll only be their second loss. So I think the playoff committee will get Penn State in. But I've got Oregon winning this game. I'm going to say 34-17 Oregon. I think Oregon will be the number 1 seed in the college football playoff. Penn State, I think they'll still get in, probably like a 5th seed or a little bit lower, 5th or a 6th seed, something like that. But I think Penn State will still get in despite the loss to Oregon in the Big Ten championship game. Again, this is this Saturday, December 7th, 8 o'clock. And next up we got the ACC championship game between I'm sorry if I forgot about the ACC championship game in the beginning of this show. But Clemson at 9-3 versus SMU at 11-1. Like I said, the winner of this game will also get an automatic bid in the college football playoff. Like I said, I will say this: I did not see this from Clemson at all this season. Like I said, because I'm not really a big fan of Cade Klubnik. But he had a really good season, actually. 3,041 passing yards with 29 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Clemson running back Phil Maffa had over 1,078 rushing yards with 8 touchdowns. So they both players had a really good year. I like Phil Maffa. He's a decent running back. I'm just not a really big fan of Cade Klubnik. I don't have a high draft grade for him when he goes pro. I think most likely he's gonna come back. I don't think he's gonna go pro after this season. I think he's gonna come back for his senior year and try to improve his draft stock for the 2026 NFL draft. But SMU is no sleepover for sure. Quarterback Ken Jennings had over 2,746 passing yards with 19 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions. SMU running back Brashad Smith had 1,157 rushing yards, 14 touchdowns. SMU's only loss was to BYU. They went undefeated in the ACC play. I like SMU. This is their first year in the ACC. I did not see this coming. Last year they was in the American Conference. I think they did make it to the American Championship game. But I think, like I said, I wouldn't sleep on SMU if I was y'all. Like I said, I went back and forth with this game because the way Clemson has been playing lately has been pretty good. Cade Klubnik has been pretty solid. I guess he actually had a game-winning touchdown against Pitt for like 67 yards, so he can use his legs. He's pretty athletic, using his legs. They got Phil Maffa. They got some good receivers, the freshman Brian Wesco, and and so on. They got a pretty good defense with sophomore pass rusher T.J. Parker and them boys. So they got a really good defense. I'm not completely sure how I think Clemson will look up to SMU. I think SMU is slightly the better team. Now, Dabo is the better coach, and that does play a key factor in a matchup like this. But I'm going to say SMU wins it in a close one. I say SMU over Clemson, 23-20, SMU over Clemson. I think SMU advances to the college football playoff, and Clemson will be eliminated because that'll be 4 losses. So obviously they will not get in at all. But that's still a really good season by Clemson, 9 wins. But lastly, we got the SEC Championship game Saturday, December 7th, 4 o'clock. Georgia beat Texas. This is a rematch between Georgia at 10-2 versus Texas 11-1. Georgia actually beat Texas on the road week 7, 30-15. If you watch my episode that week, I did pick Texas to win that game, especially based off of the struggles I seen for Georgia, like in the Alabama game where they were down 28-0. They did come back only to lose by last-second throw by Jalen Milroe to freshman phenom Ryan Williams. And in that same game, though, even though Georgia did beat Texas, Carson Beck was 23 of 41 for only 175 yards and 3 interceptions. Again, if you know me, I'm not a big fan of Carson Beck. Any Georgia fan, I know. At my job, the Kia plant, I have a couple coworkers that are Georgia fans. They tired of Carson Beck. They ready to move on. Like I said, before the season started, he was projected to be a first round pick. Really projected to be a first overall pick. And if he comes out now, I say the highest he could probably get drafted, maybe a late second round, mid third round pick. But I say really a fourth round. But I think he can come back. I think he still has another year. If he does, I would come back because this has not been a good year by Carson Beck. And also in that game, quarterback Quinn Ewers for Texas went 25 of 43 for 211 yards, 2 touchdowns, only 1 pick. He outplayed Carson Beck, but of course Carson Beck got the win due to Georgia's running game. Trevor Etienne had, I think, over 70 yards rushing, a touchdown. Georgia defense led by top NFL draft prospect Mikael Williams, Malachi Starks, and also Walker, another elite pass rusher who's probably going to be a top pick in the 2025 NFL draft. Georgia's defense won them that game. They said they dominated Texas on the road in Texas house. They walked in Texas trap and they tipped over their trap. And like I said, I went back and forth with this, but I think Texas will win this game, and here's why I think. Like I said, again, I just don't trust Carson Beck. And key moments, like against Alabama, he turns the ball over. In that same game against Texas, he had 3 interceptions. I just think the fact that Texas didn't win that game due to Georgia's defense. Now, Texas has a pretty solid defense as well. I think Texas is going to bounce back. I think Quinn Ewers is going to have a solid game. They're going to run the ball okay. I like their receivers, Isaiah Bond, and then Ryan Wingo. I like him. I like the freshman receiver. I like him. So I think Texas. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game, but I'm going to say Texas. Texas beat Georgia 20 to. I'm going to say 20 to 14. Texas over Georgia. I'm going to say Alabama over Georgia, but I still think Georgia will still get in because I think the committee is going to put if they got Alabama making it as a 3-loss team, Georgia's definitely going to get in. I like to say because if they keep it close and lose to Texas and they beat Texas during the regular season, they're going to get in. Texas automatically is going to get in with the win over Georgia. They'll be most likely be the number 2 seed. But let's get into the bracket of how it looked yesterday. I don't know if any of y'all watched the college football playoff selection show. It comes on every Tuesday. During this week, after the conference championship games, it'll come on Sunday. That'll be the last one to show you who's making the college football playoff. So, but yeah, as projected right now for week 15, this is the bracket. Number 12, Arizona State will be the number 12 seed. They'll be the 12th seed. They'll be projected to play the 5th seed, Penn State, on the road. Tennessee will be the 9th seed. They'll play Ohio State on the road at Ohio State, as Ohio State will be the 8th seed. Alabama will be in as the 11th seed, play Notre Dame on the road as the 6th seed. In Indiana, the 10th seed will play Georgia, projected to be the 7th seed on the road. And the 4 teams that will have a first round bye, the 4 highest conference champions. Boise State will be 4th because, like I said, they'll be ranked higher than the Big 12 champion, Arizona State or Iowa State. Oregon will be number 1 as number 1 seed. SMU will be number 3, the ACC champion. Texas will be number 2, the SEC champion. So again, Boise State, the Mountain West champion. They'll be the highest ranked group of 5, and they'll be higher ranked than the Big 12 champion. Oregon, the Big 10 champion, will be number 1 seed. They'll be undefeated. If they beat Penn State, be 13-0, undefeated. The only undefeated FBS team in college football this season. And 3 seed, SMU, the ACC champion. If they beat Clemson, we'll get a first round bye. Also, number 2, Texas, the SEC champion, first round bye. Now, what like I said, I have no problem with this projected bracket besides Alabama. I just don't think Alabama is really a playoff team. I was watching Get Up this morning and some other videos and watching Nightcap with Shannon Sharp and Chad Ochocinco, and they said, Alabama getting in because of popularity contest. And I get that. That was with Nick Saban. Nick Saban's not there. He was retired. They got Kellen DeBoer. I'm saying his name wrong. Sorry. But they got him. Nick Saban's not there. Kellen DeBoer is an offensive-minded coach. He's not a defensive coach. And I don't think this is probably, honestly, the worst Alabama team I've seen since before Nick Saban got there in 07. Yeah, I think 07, 08. Before Nick Saban got there. But reason Alabama's in because, like I said, I was watching the college football selection show that the committee said the reason they got Alabama in is because of their record against top 25 teams, which is 3-1, I think, 3-1, 4-1. Especially their win over Georgia at home. But right now, Alabama will be projected to play Notre Dame on the road, and I just don't think Alabama's going to make a deep playoff run. I think Notre Dame will beat Bama in a close one. I really do, because Alabama's offensive line is not the same. Jalen Milroe running for his life. The only way Alabama will win this game is using Jalen Milroe using his legs. if Ryan Williams has an amazing game, their defense steps up. I do like Malachi Moore and them boys, but I just don't think this same Alabama team is a playoff contender, a serious playoff contender. I don't think they should be in, but it is what it is. But these are the 12 teams. Again, Arizona State will play Penn State, 12 versus 5th seed. Tennessee, Ohio State, 9 versus 8. Alabama, Notre Dame, 11 seed versus 6 seed. Indiana, Georgia, 10 seed playing the 7 seed. The 4 teams that will have first round bye: Boise State, 4th seed; Oregon, the 1 seed; SMU, 3 seed; Texas, the 2 seed. The college football playoff will start December 20th with the first round. The higher ranked teams will get a home playoff game. So yeah, I'm very excited. Very excited for Conference Championship week. I always look forward to this. I think it's gonna be a good games. UNLV, Boise State, gonna be a good game. Tulane and Army, Iowa State, Arizona State. The rematch between Texas and Georgia. Now Penn State or Oregon, I honestly don't think that's probably gonna be that competitive. Maybe in the beginning, but I just don't think so. But y'all let me know what y'all think. Who y'all got in these games? Boise State, UNLV, Tulane, Army, Arizona State, Iowa State, Penn State, Oregon, Clemson, SMU, and Georgia, Texas. Now my Georgia fans probably gonna disagree. They probably gonna pick Georgia. That's fine. But like I said, I have my reasons for what I said. I just don't love Carson Beck, and he's a turnover machine. Even that game against Georgia Tech, he turned the ball over. He literally almost blew the game for Georgia. It took 7 overtimes for them just to beat Georgia Tech. So, and no, don't get me wrong, but Georgia Tech's a very good team, so kudos to them. But he keeps doing it over and over again, so yeah. But my next episode, most likely I'll be talking about the actual 12-team bracket for the college football playoff, who's in, my predictions for the first round, the second round, the semifinals, and my national championship winner prediction. Even if I'm wrong, I will probably give my prediction for whoever's in the national championship. It'll be in Atlanta. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Should I try to go there, tailgate a little bit? I don't know. I can't make no promises, but yeah. That's today's episode. Conference Championship Week starts this Friday. UNLV versus Boise State and Tulane versus Army in the Mountain West in American Championship game. I do appreciate each one of y'all always tuning in for another episode of my sports podcast. It means the world to me. I love each and every one of y'all. Whether you've been subscribed to my channel or you're just new, you always appreciate it. No matter, even when I get to 1 million subscribers, I'm always going to appreciate everybody. But yeah, I'm signing out. I'll catch y'all next time for another episode of Cameron Sports Podcast. Y'all take care.